Imagine how remarkable it is that the human body speaks in signals rather than statements, in chemical hints rather than clear declarations. The VDRL test exists within this quiet language of biology, listening not for the presence of an organism itself, but for the traces of the body's response to disruption. It reminds us that disease does not always announce itself loudly. Often it leaves fingerprints in the immune system, subtle changes that only careful observation can reveal. This test measures antibodies that arise when tissues are altered, when balance has been challenged, showing that the body reacts first, remembers second, and reveals its experience only to those who know how to look. Scientifically, this approach reflects a deeper truth about human physiology. The immune system is not a simple alarm system that turns on and off. It is a living archive of encounters, recording moments of stress, invasion, and recovery. The VDRL test reads from this archive, interpreting patterns rather than searching for a single culprit. In doing so, it teaches us that understanding health requires patience and perspective because the body rarely presents clear-cut answers. Instead, it offers evidence layered over time, shaped by interaction between cells, tissues, and defenses, working silently in the background. There is something profoundly reflective in this idea. A person may feel entirely normal, going about daily life without discomfort, while the immune system carries a memory of imbalance. The VDRL test acknowledges this gap between feeling healthy and being healthy, between outward appearance and inner reality. It gently challenges the assumption that absence of symptoms equals absence of disease, encouraging a more thoughtful relationship with our bodies. Science here becomes a form of listening rather than hunting, an act of attention rather than confrontation. This indirect method of detection also speaks to the elegance of medical science. Instead of forcing answers, it observes consequences. By detecting antibodies, the test respects the complexity of biological systems, recognizing that the body's reaction can be as informative as the cause itself. It demonstrates how medicine often works best not by overpowering nature, but by understanding its patterns. Each result reflects a dialogue between the immune system and its environment, a conversation that has unfolded quietly long before the blood sample was taken. On a human level, this perspective fosters humility. It reminds us that the body is constantly negotiating with the world, adapting, responding, and protecting in ways we rarely notice. The VDRL test becomes a symbol of that unseen labor, offering insight without intrusion. It invites both clinicians and individuals to slow down, to respect the subtle intelligence of the immune system, and to recognize that health is not a static condition, but an ongoing process shaped by time, memory, and response. The VDRL test offers a quiet lesson in how the immune system thinks, reacts, and remembers, revealing that our defenses are not driven by instinct alone, but by a refined biological intelligence shaped through experience. When the body encounters disruption, it does not simply attempt to eliminate it. It studies it, adapts to it, and leaves behind markers of that encounter. The antibodies detected by this test are evidence of that thoughtful response, showing how the immune system transforms exposure into memory. This process reminds us that health is not a fixed state, but a living balance, continuously adjusted by countless cellular decisions occurring beyond our awareness. From a scientific lens, the immune response measured by the VDRL test reflects a remarkable coordination between different parts of the body. Cells communicate, signals are exchanged, and responses are calibrated to the degree of threat. Rather than reacting blindly, the immune system weighs risk and response, producing antibodies that linger as reminders of past challenges. The test does not measure harm directly, but the body's interpretation of harm, which is often more revealing. In this way, it shows that biology values context as much as cause, and that understanding disease requires attention to the body's internal reasoning. There is something deeply philosophical in recognizing that the immune system remembers what the conscious mind may never have known. Long after an encounter has passed, these biological memories persist, shaping future responses and influencing overall well-being. The VDRL test allows science to read those memories, translating them into information that can guide care. It highlights how adaptation, not perfection, defines resilience. The immune system does not aim for invulnerability, but for readiness, maintaining a state of alert calm that mirrors the ideal state of human health. This understanding shifts how we think about illness. Instead of viewing disease as a sudden invasion, the test encourages us to see it as part of a longer conversation between the body and its environment. Every response leaves a trace. Every adaptation alters the internal landscape. The immune system becomes not just a shield, but a storyteller, documenting moments when equilibrium was challenged. The VDRL test reads a single chapter of that story, reminding us that the body's history matters as much as its present condition. At a human level, this insight invites respect for the complexity within us. The immune system works tirelessly, adjusting to threats we never feel and protecting us in silence. By detecting its signals, the VDRL test bridges the gap between invisible biological processes and conscious medical understanding. It reveals that health emerges from harmony among countless small responses rather than dramatic interventions, and that the wisdom of the body often lies in its ability to adapt, remember, and maintain balance
test
over
carries
time.
a quiet but powerful message about the nature of preventive medicine, one that challenges our instinct to wait for discomfort before seeking understanding. Many individuals who undergo this test feel entirely well, experiencing no pain, no visible signs, no interruption to daily life. Yet science has shown us that the absence of symptoms is not the same as the absence of biological change. Within the body, processes may unfold silently, and the VDRL test exists to bring awareness to what would otherwise remain unseen. It reflects a shift in medical thinking, from reacting to illness toward anticipating it with curiosity and care. From a scientific point of view, this approach recognizes that disease often develops gradually, passing through stages that offer opportunities for early detection and intervention. The immune system responds long before outward signs appear, and the antibodies detected by the VDRL test are evidence of this early conversation between the body and disruption. By listening at this stage, medicine can act thoughtfully rather than urgently. The test becomes less about confirming sickness and more about preserving health, acknowledging that timing is as important as treatment itself. This idea of prevention extends beyond the individual to the collective. When silent conditions are identified early, the potential for broader impact is reduced, protecting not just one person, but many. The VDRL test, therefore, represents a bridge between personal health and public responsibility. It reflects how scientific tools can support community well-being by addressing hidden risks before they manifest as visible harm. In this sense, preventative testing is an act of care that extends outward, rooted in the understanding that health is interconnected. There is also a reflective dimension to preventative medicine that speaks to how we relate to our own bodies. Choosing to be tested without symptoms requires trust in science and respect for the body's complexity. It means accepting that feeling well does not always mean being fully balanced, and that knowledge, even when uncomfortable, is a form of empowerment. The VDRL test supports this mindset by offering information early when choices are broader and outcomes more favorable. At its core, this preventative approach encourages a calmer, wiser relationship with health. Rather than waiting for crisis, it invites attentiveness. Rather than fear, it promotes understanding. The VDRL test stands as an example of how medicine can honor the body's quiet signals, intervening gently and intelligently. It reminds us that the most effective care often begins before suffering announces itself, guided by foresight, compassion, and respect for the silent processes that sustain human life. The VDRL test, when viewed beyond its scientific mechanics, opens a space for reflection on how medicine intersects with human dignity and emotional experience. A laboratory result may appear simple on paper, but behind that result stands a person with a life shaped by relationships, responsibilities, and personal history. Science, at its best, recognizes this reality. The test itself is neutral, measuring immune responses with precision, yet the meaning of its findings unfolds within the human context. This reminds us that medical knowledge gains its true value only when it is paired with empathy and understanding. In many societies, conditions associated with such testing can carry stigma, misunderstanding, or unnecessary shame. The VDRL test quietly challenges these reactions by grounding health in biology rather than judgment. An infection is not a reflection of character, it is a biological event shaped by exposure, vulnerability, and circumstance. By presenting information without accusation, the test offers clarity rather than condemnation. This scientific objectivity creates an opportunity for healthcare to be humane, allowing individuals to receive care without fear of being defined by a diagnosis. From the clinician's perspective, this test serves as a reminder of responsibility. Communicating results requires sensitivity, patience, and respect for the emotional weight they may carry. Scientific accuracy alone is not enough. It must be delivered with compassion. When handled thoughtfully, the VDRL test can become a moment of guidance rather than distress, helping individuals understand their health without feeling isolated or judged. This approach transforms medicine from a purely technical practice into a deeply human one. For the individual, encountering such a test result can be a moment of vulnerability. Questions arise about the body, the future, and personal well-being. In this moment, science provides answers, but empathy provides reassurance. The test becomes a doorway to care, not a verdict. It reinforces the idea that seeking medical knowledge is an act of self-respect, and that facing health concerns openly is a sign of strength rather than weakness. Ultimately, the VDRL test reflects how medical science can support human well-being beyond diagnosis. It demonstrates that clarity, when offered with kindness, has the power to reduce fear and encourage healing. By separating biological facts from moral assumptions, the test helps restore balance, not only within the body, but also within the mind. It stands as a quiet example of how compassion and science can work together, ensuring that knowledge serves humanity rather than overwhelms it. The VDRL test, when considered in its broader meaning, reflects the deeper purpose of medical science itself, which is not merely to respond to illness, but to understand the body with patience and respect. It stands as a reminder that medicine advances not only through dramatic interventions, but through careful listening to subtle biological signals. A small blood sample becomes a point of connection between scientific inquiry and the complex inner world of the human body. Through this test, science learns to recognize imbalance early, allowing care to unfold with wisdom rather than urgency. At the heart of this process lies the idea that the body is not an adversary to be conquered, but a system to be understood. The immune responses detected by the VDRL test reveal how the body adapts, remembers, and strives to restore equilibrium. This perspective shifts medical practice away from crisis-driven reactions and toward thoughtful stewardship of health. By paying attention to these early signs, medicine honors the body's own efforts to maintain harmony, working alongside biological intelligence instead of against it. There is also a philosophical depth in recognizing how such tests represent the intersection of time and biology. The antibodies detected are traces of past encounters, moments when balance was challenged and the immune system responded. The VDRL test reads these traces, allowing the present to be informed by the past. This temporal awareness reinforces the idea that health is a continuum, shaped by experiences that may no longer be visible but still influence the body's state. Science, in this sense, becomes a bridge between what has happened and what can still be guided toward healing. From a societal viewpoint, the test symbolizes the quiet strength of modern medicine. It does not demand attention or dramatize illness, yet its impact is profound. By enabling early understanding and timely care, it reduces suffering that might otherwise emerge later. This reflects a mature form of healthcare, one that values prevention, knowledge, and calm intervention over reactive measures. Such an approach benefits not only individuals, but the collective health of communities. Ultimately, the VDRL test invites a more thoughtful relationship with our bodies and with science itself. It encourages trust in careful observation and respect for the body's signals. Through this lens, medical testing becomes an act of listening rather than labeling, of guiding rather than forcing. The test stands as a quiet testament to the idea that true care lies in understanding, that balance can be restored through awareness, and that the goal of medicine is not simply to eliminate disease, but to support the ongoing harmony of human life.